Hello, in this lesson, get this out of the way so I can help you out here. I want you to make sense of problems and persevere in solving them. Whenever you see persevere in solving these problems, think multi-step problems. We're going to have to do more than one step to get there. What we're going to do is we're going to look at the effective transformations on data and measures of central tendency of variation. In other words, I'm going to do some sort of transformation. I'm going to add, subtract, multiply, or divide. I'm going to compare data using measures of central tendency and variation. So the whole key here is we're comparing data. Now on our first example, we have this data set, and we're going to well, first of all, let's talk about what's in the box, I should say. When I add something to every term of a data set, the mean, the median, and the mode of my new data set, I'm going to be found by adding that same thing to each of them. So all your measures of central tendency are going to change. That is, you're going to add something, in this case k, to each one. Now if I add something to all of my numbers, the same thing, is my range going to change? I'm going to have all my numbers are going to be bigger or smaller, but they're going to be the same distance apart. So anything that is a measure of spread is going to stay the same. Now let's take a look at example 1. I want you to find the mean, the median, the mode, the range, and the standard deviation of the data set, and what it is after adding 12 to each value. So let's make a chart here. So what we're going to do is we're going to do the mean, the median, the mode, the range, and the standard deviation. See what I mean by multi-step? Of my original data set. And then look what happens when I add 12 to each of those numbers. So let's take a look at our mean. Now there's 12 numbers. We could almost do this by hand, but if you go to Google Classroom, I put the data set in Desmos for you so you can save yourself some time. And so what I want to do is I want to find the mean of my set. And notice it's 74.2. And if I add 12 to that, I'll get 86.2. You can actually find that on Desmos to verify it. If I find the mean, but rather than doing A, I'm going to do A plus 12 in the parentheses. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to take every value of A, I'm going to add 12 to that. Notice I get 86.2. That verifies what we just said. If I add the same thing to all my data sets, the mean will change by that same value. The median will be the same thing. Let's find the median of my set. The median of my set is 78. So if I add 12 to everything, 78 plus 12 would be 90. And like I said, we can verify that by doing the median of a plus 12. Notice it's 90, just like we predicted. Okay, let's do the mode. I probably could just look at it here. 73, 78, 61, 54, 88, 90, 63, 78. Looks like I got 3 78s. That's going to be my mode. My mode is 78. And then if I do plus 12, that'll be 90. And we can do that on Desmos. If I just go mode, got to find the mode on here. Oh, you can't do the mode on Desmos. They don't have that. So you're going to have to do the mode by hand. Hopefully we get the fact that, hey, if I do the mode, it's going to be the one that occurs the most often. Now, let's find the range of our data set. And let's go through here, and we should be able to do this one by hand. I want to find the smallest number. Looks like 61 is my smallest number. I don't see anything smaller than 61. I just noticed I had 2 61s, didn't I? And do I have anything bigger than 90? So my range would be 29. And if I go 29 plus 12, that would be 41. Now, can we do the range on Desmos? I think we can. I got to find it here. No, we can't do the range. So we'll just leave that alone. Okay. Now, let's do, oh, by the way, anybody notice I just violated my rule? My range doesn't change. It's 29. Because if I add 12 to 61, and I add 12 to 90, I would take 90 plus 12 would be 102. 12 would be 73. And 102 minus 73 is 29. Now let's find the standard deviation of a rational set. Now we're definitely not going to do this by hand. So in your functions, do the standard deviation of the population. And my population is going to be A. Notice it's 11.3. So on average, my numbers are 11.3 apart from the center. And then let's do the standard deviation if I add 12. And it should be the same. So if let me go back to my functions here. Okay. And I'm going to do the standard deviation of the population. Only I'm going to do, got 2 of them there. I'm going to do A plus 12. Notice it's the same. Because when you add the same thing to everything, it stays the same. So your measures of spread don't change when I add or subtract something to every single term. Now, what happens if I multiply? Well, if you multiply every term by something, everything's going to change by that. So what happens, as long as I multiply by something bigger than 0, because if it's less than 0, I'd have to change the sign, wouldn't I? The mean, median, mode, and range, and standard deviation, they're all going to change by that same amount.